Hey, what are you doing right now?
Feeling my feet.
Mm-hmm. And what's Molly doing?
Fuck you. Watching The Bachelor. Hello, and welcome to Our 3 Cents. My name is Laura.
I'm Molly.
I'm Bailey.
And welcome to your favorite podcast. How's everybody's week?
Good. I can't remember anything that has happened since we last recorded. Nor can I remember recording.
Oh, I went on a blind date.
Oh,
that was
fun.
fun.
Yeah,
Just random Spitfire questions here. How old was he?
He was 31.
How old are you?
How old are you, Molly?
23.
Again?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think I acted a little older than he did.
Eee. That's bad.
I mean, I wouldn't say that, but we were definitely at the same level. Like, looking at him, would not guess he was 31. It could have something to do with the faux hawk that he was rocking.
Was he rocking it?
No, he wasn't.
Yeah.
And he
He
had like a really scraggly beard, and I'm already not a beard person, and so for it to just be very unkept and like, ugh, it wasn't that good. And whenever I would talk, he wouldn't make eye contact with me. He would like literally.
When you talked?
Yeah, when I talked, he would look to the side and not look at me when I was talking.
That's
Is he
unsettling.
No. I don't think
Are
so.
you sure?
I don't know, I guess.
It was a blind date, so you don't really know a lot of background.
But like when he was talking, he would make eye contact with me. So it just it was really weird. I was like, because I
normally
have, like,
people do the opposite.
Yeah.
yeah, my biggest pet peeve is people not listening to me, and so, or like the act of people not listening. Like if they're not looking at me when I'm talking, I feel like they're ignoring me. And so for him, yeah, people do that every time I say it. And so,
Listeners, I looked away from Molly, so you understand that visual gag that just happened.
and so seeing him do that like made me like stop talking, because I felt like he wasn't listening. So it was really weird. And I don't know, there just wasn't really much to talk about. Like he didn't really invest in what I was saying. Like. I don't know, not to compare, but whenever like I would tell David things, he would
Screaming.
and he would like even like the dumbest stuff, he would continue the conversation with it. And so I mean, I don't know, like I mean, and that's just normal decency, like to invest in what somebody's talking about, and he just didn't really do that.
Was there any good part of your date?
I mean, like, the conversation was okay, but I mean, it wasn't anything, like...
Was the food good?
Yeah, it was this pizza place by my apartment that I go to a lot, so...
I mean, overall, would you go on another date?
After the date, I said I would, but then the more I thought about it, I was like, nah. Also
Not
because,
a
like,
fan.
I'm not going to be in town this weekend, and his automatic response was, okay, we'll hang out in 2 weekends. And I'm like, you can't hang out during the week, like that kind of bothered me. Not that I would want to, I'd hate doing things during the week, but
Yeah, I was gonna say some people can't, so I don't know, I don't really get it.
but that's just like that's 2 weeks away, and I'm not that interested in him. So like,
So did you tell him no?
no, at the end of the day,
No, she didn't realize it till after the fact.
Yeah. Because like surface level, yeah, it was a fine date, but when I got home and thought about it, I was like, oh, that wasn't that good.
Not a fan.
He just wasn't what I was expecting. Like he wasn't what I thought a 31-year-old would look and act like, which I guess is a okay thing because my maturity level is not at 31. So.
Maybe it is to a 31-year-old guy.
But
I had high hopes for the male species at an older age, but obviously high hopes make for a hard fall. So
Wow, where'd you come up with that one?
off my head.
I never heard it, so.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Did you do anything
Me?
interesting this
Did
week?
I do anything this week? Ooh, you want to know something funny that happened this weekend?
Absolutely.
So my mom, for like, pretty sure before Christmas, maybe in the month of January, but it's been for a while, at least a couple weeks, has told me and my sister that we were going to go to a self-defense class that was put on by this guy in the county that she works in, that we live in, and everything. Well, so I don't know when she like started reminding us daily, but it became like we would get regular notifications about it, and then we got a text message about it from the people, and so I was like, okay, cool, whatever, let's go. Like, wasn't too excited about it, but I wasn't like against it. Like, I do want to take a class like that, but I wasn't.
Was this
like,
before or after y'all had done CrossFit?
We were supposed to take the class after I started CrossFit.
Okay.
But we knew about it before.
Okay.
Wait, you did CrossFit?
It doesn't really have any. I've gone 3 times. I don't like do CrossFit. I go and I have somebody tell me how to work out.
You said this on the podcast.
Yeah. Anyways, so Saturday morning comes and Sam has to go to work. So I get up early with him. And by get up early, I mean I walk him out. Like, I walked to the living room with him, and then I came and got back in bed. Stayed in bed until like 9. Got up, got around, went to my mom's house. We left for the self-defense class. We get there, and we're a little bit late. But we just had to fill out some paperwork, and we're all sitting there. And my mom, who's like an active member of society, knows like 3 people that walk in. And then Amy knew a couple people, and I'm just sitting there like, hello. And so we're just all sitting there, and then all of a sudden, me and Amy were talking about like what we're gonna do, and I asked if we could go eat after, and all of a sudden, Mom just turns and says, "So, what would you say if I just said 1, 2, 3, and then we all got up and left?" And I was like,
"What?"
So we are all the way. We are here. We are in the building. We are watching these people do. What do you leave? We've gotten here, Renee. You do not understand how tuck and roll goes. Like, you call before you get there and say we can't go. And so I'm just flabbergasted. And Amy says, yeah, I guess that'd be fine. I was like, do y'all have telepathy? And I was left out? Like, when did we decide to discuss that? Like, and so we're just all sitting there, and she said, I just don't really want to be here. There's a lot of people here, and I know some of them, and you could kind of see through this small window what the other people, and it was an all-women's self-defense class, and you could see through what they were doing, and it was like some of it was like a teaching in rows normal class, like you did the thing standing in your own quadrant. But then other times he would make you form a huge circle, and he would pick people out at random, and they were doing like attacking him and like rolling on the ground and like getting into it. And I'm not a get into it type of person, especially.
Was this like a same level that your class would be,
all
though?
introductory, yeah.
So the one you were watching was
yeah. They had a 9
okay.
o'clock and then an 11 o'clock.
Okay.
And then they said something like, it's supposed to be an hour and a half, but we're running late, so plan for 2 hours and a half. And Mom was just not having it. And so all of a sudden she says, I'm going to go tell them that you got called into work. Get on your phone. And I just looked at her, and then I looked down at my phone, and then she told the people that I got called into work, and we had to leave and sign us up for the one in February. We'll see you then, and we left. And
oh my gosh.
She took it so far because as we were walking out, Amy said, I can't text my boyfriend because I told him I was going to be here. And Mom said, I know, we can't tell my boyfriend, my mother's boyfriend. And I said, Sam doesn't give any type of shit. And so I texted him and told him what happened. And he was like, damn, that sucks. So, like, there's that. And then we went to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Well, that's good.
And then we went to a boutique and we bought clothes. We got to my mother's house that she lives with her boyfriend, and Mom said, don't get the bags out. He can't know. And I was like, who are
This
you?
is wild.
It was like,
this is like Ocean's 9. Like, get 6 more people to leave this
Right?
class with you?
I was like so prepared to take a self-defense class. I'm not that upset about it, but like,
But like, it was
ready.
not your idea to
I got
leave.
up, I put my hair in a ponytail, I put on tennis shoes, and we left.
Gosh.
I was so confused, but I mean, it happens.
That's wild.
Yeah, so that was my Saturday.
That reminds me.
Kathy!
Don't yell at Kathy. Kathy! This weekend, we were with one of our friends, and we were also with her mom. And our friend just dropped in that we made a podcast.
Like, how's your podcast going? Or what was your last topic? Or something, like, and just making conversation.
And, she's a mom, and lots of moms...
Or not our friend, our friend's mom.
Yes, our friend's mom is a mom, obviously. And so she, like most moms, didn't know what a podcast was.
But got very interested because they all want us to be so successful.
Molly, I don't know how your mom has taken the podcast explanation, but our moms are both kind of just like, well, okay, that's nice.
My mom
but she was like really into. Okay, good. Well, Miss Kathy, who we're talking about, was like, oh, how do I listen to it? Like, oh, can you put this on my phone and download it for me? So my friend was like, yeah, it's just in an app. So she was like setting it up, and she was like, okay, I'm going to start listening to it.
She was so supportive.
And we were like, thank you. She was just like instantly so enthusiastic and happy. It was so good. So that, I guess, is a funny thing that happened this weekend.
Yeah, no,
and also shout out to Miss Kathy. I hope you're listening, and I hope this makes your day. And also, can we still come do yoga with you? Remember how she said she's going to do yoga? And how we said we should do yoga? I also want to do kickboxing. You did kickboxing for a little bit, Molly.
I did free kickboxing.
You should go do the free kickboxing. And tell me how it went.
It was fun, but expensive.
Yeah. Laura has it for free.
I do. I could go to a couple classes, but I just don't want to drive all that way.
Oh, where is it?
Across from Snowden.
Oh, okay. So in a different city.
Yeah.
Listeners.
Oh, I also rearranged my room and got a new bedspread because I'm an adult.
Oh, nice!
And it's a beautiful bedspread.
Nice. I remember this, yes. Where'd you get it from?
This place called At Home. My coworker told me I was never going to get laid if I didn't get a new bedspread.
Well,
I mean,
that's
and
valid,
all of my friends
fair.
somewhat agreed with him. They were like, and I realized I've had that bedspread since 8th grade, so it's been like 10 years.
You deserved a new
Molly.
bedspread.
I know, I can't believe I've carried it around for that long, but like I just love splatter paint.
Yeah, can you describe it for the listeners who haven't seen your bedspread?
Yeah, it's
your former
white
bedspread
with like neon splatter paint and stars. I wanted that bedspread so bad in 8th grade.
And you used the heck out of it.
I used it.
Oof.
I got a new bedspread like every year.
Really?
Like through high school, I know I got one semi-regularly.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got to college, it was like, I remember the one I had freshman year, and then I took that to my apartment freshman year, and then when I moved, when I went to the sorority house sophomore year, I got a new bedspread, and then I took that bedspread to Disney, and then junior year when I lived with y'all, I got a whole new bed suit, and then when I moved in with Sam, I got a whole new bed suit.
Well, dang.
And then this one was my mom's, but it's new to me, and I've been trying to buy a new one for a very long time, but I'm poor, so...
Yeah, I only got... Expensive. I know, that's why I'm like, how'd you get one every year?
I wasted money, that's why I'm poor now. I could write a book.
Yeah, I only got, I guess, 2 new ones in college. One for the twin XL you get in the dorm, and then one for when we moved to apartments.
Right.
So just those 2.
Right. I'm looking at bedspreads now.
Well, can you start us off on our topic if nobody else has any stories?
You know what?
What, Laura?
I'm a 18 to 35-year-old female.
Yeah?
Something that people would categorize me by, generally, is that I enjoy new bedspreads. I enjoy interior design.
What a wild...
Do you know what that could be said is? Right.
Correct?
Okay. And what would somebody be doing if they were to describe me as that based solely on appearance and a little bit of knowledge about females?
So what you're asking is if someone was like, ooh, that girl loves to decorate. I bet she loves to decorate because she is a girl. You're
a white girl.
A white girl. You basic.
You basic.
You're saying that could be a stereotype?
I'm saying it could be.
Whoa!
I think it is, because you know what? I'm a girl, and I don't like to decorate.
But you did such a
Same.
good job.
Yeah, but didn't you see her tweet about how she always comes and makes her friends do it?
Oh yeah, I do.
I thought that was very accurate and funny, by the way.
I do. I like have been trying to convince my friend Jordan to come visit me because I want her to come redecorate my apartment for me.
I mean, didn't Laura do that and our friend Grace do that?
Yeah, Grace
really
is not
do
allowed to
anything.
come back to my apartment because she's gonna get mad at me because I haven't done what she asked me to do.
Which was?
Probably certain design projects.
Like, DIYs,
actually-
let me do them.
I am trying to get her and our friend Hannah to come stay with me an extra night over their spring break in hopes that they will help me decorate my apartment.
She never invites us together.
I know.
And you're unemployed.
Yeah, well, I was
Yeah,
gonna say
and
only
it's
one of
about
us
time they'll
has
come and visit me since I have
good
gone
design
there twice
skills.
Bitch, I've been multiple times to see you.
now. You got them twice. Well, it's Bailey's turn then.
Well, careful what you wish for, because you just might get it.
She's unemployed. Just tell them you're going on a job interview.
That's a good idea. Anyway, back to stereotypes.
This is not the matter at hand.
No.
Laura,
So?
we were talking about stereotypes and very quickly disproved them. But what are stereotypes? Are they good things? Are they bad things?
So, as I am loading the definition to stereotype, because I want Webster's input, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
Noun, a widely held but fixed and oversimplified image or idea of a particular type of person or thing. 2, a relief, printing no, never mind.
No, don't read that.
Verb. View a represent...
Yeah, they used the word in the definition, didn't they?
So rude.
Maybe let's go back up to
Let's
those strongly
stereotype.
held and
Noun. A widely held but fixed, oversimplified idea or image. I can't speak anymore. You get the picture. I don't know.
Oversimplified.
So there are people.
Yes.
So let's name some stereotypes real quick,
Mm-hmm.
just offhandedly and
Mhm.
candidly.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily ones we believe
Mm-hmm.
or think are right,
Mm-hmm.
but that are commonplace in our culture. Go.
Easy one for our area. Rednecks.
Okay.
Always in camo. Always got those big loud boots. Always drive loud trucks.
Got it. Next.
Around the circle. One of you two go now. I got mine.
So the first one I thought of that I don't like that I see, Asians are good at math.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And bad at driving.
Oh,
bad at driving.
women are bad at driving.
Yes, women are also bad at driving, but bad at math also.
Yeah, so we're just bad at
Uh-huh.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like a fun cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so with those 3,
Mm-hmm.
pick out which ones you think are bad and which ones you think have no bearing on the scale and why they would be bad.
When we were in high school, our English teacher, we had to write something about stereotypes, and I said something about how I believed in lots of redneck stereotypes because lots of them were true at like our school, and she was like, any stereotyping shows a closed-mindedness on your part, and I was like,
Ooh,
okay,
damn.
I'm just gonna go die now.
She said that to you?
Something like that. It was something like where I was like,
Oh, she hates me.
oh, I've done bad.
Oh, this is what I shouldn't have done. Oh.
So with that in mind, I would say all of them.
So yeah.
But
So
on a serious level, me thinking that I could call you a redneck if you wear camo would be much less harmful if I saw that you were Asian and I thought you cannot drive.
Yes.
But why?
I don't know. And that's the thing. I have
Uh-huh.
this conversation with people in my close circle
Mm-hmm.
often.
Mm-hmm.
Like where we live,
Mm-hmm.
who we talk to every day, family
Mhm.
members, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Stereotypes have stuck in the
Mhm.
minds of a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
and aren't necessarily viewed as bad
Mm-hmm.
because they might not have any that dictate their lives, or they don't like associate people who look like them with any bad stereotypes. But like, we live in Mississippi and there's no way around it. A lot of people are racist and like hide their racism by just using stereotypes that they and like the excuse is it's a stereotype for a reason.
Yes.
So it didn't just become a stereotype by two people doing it. It's so many people did it so often, and over time it just became something that was joined with the color of their skin or their gender or whatever, their pastimes or whatever, and it can be harmful. And I liked what our English teacher said now as a 24-year-old.
Like, she may have been right, but I was hurt at the time. Because, no, it's not good to stereotype anybody based on anything. But in a broader societal sense, in the way that our society works, people who have power and can use stereotypes based on things that people can't change, like your race or your gender, or wearing camo is not something, but if you were like, oh, camo equals redneck, redneck equals poor, judging people based on like their class, what was it? social class, so whatever. Sure. These are not good things.
Well, and it's also, you're putting people in a box before getting to know them, and you're letting these prejudice ideas either way fall and like invade your mind while meeting somebody before you've met them, talked to them, gotten to know them. Like, let's take Molly's date for instance. The date wasn't good. She gave it a chance, but because of stereotypes, it could have gone differently. Like, I don't know, like, faux hawks. Let's just stereotype men with bad haircuts. Not good decision makers.
Sorry, faux hawk listeners.
More immature. 31-year-old faux hawk listeners. I'm gonna be specific.
See, he told me he had a mohawk before, like right before he showed up, because I like asked him if he knew what I looked like, and he was like, yeah, I've seen a picture, so I have like an idea of what you look like, and he's like, I have a mohawk, and I was like, haha, oh, perfect. I thought he was being sarcastic. And then he was standing right in front of me, and I was like, oh, you weren't being sarcastic.
This fabulous. But like, let's say that Molly had prejudices against rednecks. Let's take Bailey's example. So she walks in and it's a guy in boots and a camo jacket and a baseball hat and would be defined as a redneck from where we're all from. And her immediate thought is, this boy's going to be slow as dirt.
Super country.
He's going to be super country. He's going to be super conservative. He's going to be rude to the waiter. Like, and that could have ruined her date. And the same goes for other people meeting empowered women that are like outward with their empowerment. Like a lot of people in our area have talked down to women who know their worth and are empowered because they think they're feminazis or whatever you want to say. And it's just like, a lot of times you can
they're going against the normal stereotype and the one that they want of women being like
talk more
submissive.
About stereotypes people want and why people want them.
Like thinking that women are like less than or like submissive or bad at math.
Yeah. Why all that works together?
Because it sustains a power balance. If you have a bunch of men in Congress and then a bunch of women come in, then the men are like, what about us being in Congress? Or if you have, say, lots of white people as presidents, and then you get a black president one day, and they're like, ugh, a black president, he's gonna bring in all these black stereotypes into the house. What happened to the white presidents? It's all black stuff now.
I was gonna say something earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, stereotypes are utilized very well in the media to elicit messages that can be used to sway people during election cycles or during just during different times. So when a black president runs for president, or a woman runs for president, or someone who's not white and male runs for office or whatever, the stereotypes that are associated with those type of people are brought to light in a negative way to sway voters to not vote for them, because women can't be president because they're too emotional. Women can't be president because they're not forceful enough, and women can't make decisions.
I feel like Hillary was shrill.
Yeah, Hillary was. There's a lot of things going on right now because something just happened recently. Oh,
Elizabeth Warren's running.
What's her name?
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Thank you. Is making a big stir in the House?
Congress. Yes, the House.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right now. Because she's very active on social media, and she's very outspoken, and her male counterparts would never have been called the things that she's been called, or wouldn't be talked about the way that she's being talked about, because they are male and she is female. They're using these negative female stereotypes to categorize her in a way that makes voters think about what they've done. And our president currently does the same thing when he discusses like the wall he wants to build, talking
Mexicans
about
being rapists.
Hispanic stereotypes, and how some of that might be true. There could be people who are Hispanic who do the things he's saying.
Statistically, probably.
But overarchingly,
right,
every Hispanic person who wants to come into our country to seek asylum is not doing what he's saying they're doing. And
everyone who's in America is also prone to those same statistics.
There are higher statistics of many other types of people doing those than there are Hispanic people who want to this country. But by informing the media and creating media crazes and everything with these stereotypes, people start to believe them and fall prey to them more easily. But no stereotype is 100% true. But using them in the way that has been historically used is dangerous 100% of the time, because you're not creating like understanding. Using stereotypes, even if they're quote unquote good, like Asians are good at math, what could be bad about that? It's like,
that's called like the model minority. So like Asians have good stereotypes against them, like being good at math or like being very academically strong, but it can be harmful to your like personal self when you don't fit those good stereotypes. So if you're, an Asian child, like, you're just going to take all these math classes, you're going to be some kind of like doctor or engineer, and like if that's not what your strengths and where your passions lie, well, you don't want to be railroaded into doing something just because you're this one race. Or seen as a failure. Yes.
Because there's also a stereotype, like I'm currently watching The Big Bang Theory, and it's like they joke about stereotypes a lot because one of their friends is
Indian.
And they'll make jokes, because they're all physicists pretty much, that like about math a lot, and say things about Asian people or Indians, and a lot of their jokes are like, well, my dad's a doctor, or my mom's a doctor, or if I wasn't like this, that, and the other, and it's like you're still putting them in a box to where, okay, you say you meet an Asian person and you say, oh, I bet you're good at math, and then they say no, and then you ridicule them for not fitting into their box. And so there's a no-win situation there, because if they are good at math, then they've just accepted your stereotype, but you weren't leaning on it to become better friends with them. You were leaning on it to put them in the box that you need them to be in. And then when they don't fall in the box, they're ridiculed. So it's ridicule either way, and it doesn't create communication or create bonds. It just lets you put people in boxes easier when people don't go in boxes.
And sometimes it doesn't, like, meeting someone from outside that box doesn't help to break the box. Like, I had a family member who was talking about this black friend that she had, and was, like, describing him. I think she either said he's, like, basically not black or he's basically white. And I'm like, that's because you have a limited view of what black people can be.
Yeah.
Like, he is, if his skin is black, he's black. Like,
well, that's like the iteration that we have here of the same thing as, oh, I'm not racist, but you meet a well-spoken black person who...
And you're so surprised.
And you say something like, well, he didn't act very black.
Yes.
It's like, that's not true. Or the saying, have you ever heard, that's mighty white of you?
Huh, I haven't, but
What?
And it's just...
It doesn't surprise me.
That's mighty white of you. Like, saying that whatever somebody does, that's very Caucasian of you to do that nice thing, because other races don't think about the other their other man.
Molly, you talk.
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to jump in whenever Laura was talking about Mexicans being like, their stereotype as being rapists. Like, it drove me insane when that, what was it, Molly Tibbetts? Is that her name?
I don't know.
She was running, and this...
For what?
She was running on the street.
Oh.
I thought you meant like an elected position.
Just had an election cycle.
No, she was running down the street, and this Mexican pulled up beside her and tried to talk to her, and she ignored him, and he got mad and got out of the car and kidnapped her and killed her. And
Oh, no.
I saw...
What? Oh, I remember what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, so it was a pretty big deal because he was an illegal immigrant, I think. And I saw so many people on Facebook talking about how this is why we should build the wall, so it keeps people like him out, whereas I just saw a case of a 13-year-old girl who was kidnapped by this 21-year-old white American man just because he saw her get on the bus and said, I have to have her, and killed her parents and kidnapped her. Like, the problem is not Mexicans. But they like use that.
Wait,
they're like, he's an illegal immigrant, so obviously this is why we need to build a wall. And I really wanted to make a joke like, oh, I'm for the wall if we put all the men on the other side of it.
Two questions. One, was the guy who kidnapped her white or Mexican? Or both?
Which one?
Oh, were you talking about two different stories?
Yeah.
Okay. Just when you brought it in, we got confused because we thought you were talking about the Molly Tibbetts guy.
No, after I said the guy was an illegal immigrant and everybody was like making a big case about how we need the wall, the other day I saw an article where
that's what we did not get.
A 13-year-old girl was kidnapped by a 21-year-old white American man.
And that's the thing, you put people in boxes or in these categories, and it makes you forget that other people are capable of these things, but it makes you hyper aware when somebody of that stereotype race or stereotype gender does something. So, like, yes, an illegal immigrant, whatever, a Mexican man can rape somebody, and you're all of a sudden hyper aware, but the next week when your next door neighbor does it, it's just like, people literally say, he was such a good guy.
Yeah.
And it was a good one. Oh, like two boys get into a fight or stand around and talk about somebody, and they're just boys being boys,
Mm-hmm.
but girls do it and they're snide, gossiping bitches.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, you can't call a group of women a bunch of bitches for
Mm-hmm.
gossiping when guys do the same thing of every race
Mm-hmm.
and aren't given that label, that degrading, demeaning, derogatory language about them.
And it's also
you can't
always
call them
different when it's your kid. Like, they'll trash talk some other people, but the second their kid does it, it's not a problem, you know, or they didn't mean anything by it, you know.
Yeah. And so just like, I don't know.
What about when stereotypes help you?
Name one.
Now, tell me if this is just stereotypes or if this is just statistics. When you're walking down the city street at night and there's a strange man following behind you, and you keep away from him, try to keep in the day, or not in the daylight, but in like storefronts and around people. Otherwise, he's going to kidnap, rape, and murder you.
Yep. 100%.
Is that a stereotype or is that statistics?
See, I don't think that's a stereotype. I think when you said that, what I was thinking of was like, I don't know, but that doesn't hit me as a stereotype. That hits me as like safety precautions because of safety.
But guys don't necessarily have to do it.
But that doesn't negate a stereotype or like give to a stereotype.
Yeah, what? Oh,
good lord.
What I was going to say was, what if somebody was like, oh, I don't talk to black people at night in Memphis?
See, that's a stereotype.
But why? I agree.
Because
I'm just asking why.
The blanket statement of I don't talk to black people in Memphis, when I've been to Memphis numerous times with many different types of people or like my friends at night, during the day, wherever, there are homeless people in Memphis all around. Some white, some Hispanic, some black, some whoever. Saying you blanketly don't talk to black people and throwing a stereotypical.
What if I say I blanketly don't talk to men either?
I'd say that's a stereotype too.
Oh, okay.
But seeing a lone figure, man, you can say man, as a female walking alone at night, statistically, if you were alone and he is alone on a lone street, statistically, that's just safety precautions in my mind. And
I think that's what the difference is too. I think if we looked up statistics of who caused crimes, we would not find black people.
But blanketly saying, I'm going to Memphis tonight and I'm not going to talk to any man, and it's like, no. But if you're caught on a side alley by yourself, I don't care what color your shoes are, I'm going to the other side of the street. Like, but I also do it with women too. Yeah. Because you can't trust bitches nowadays.
Just because you're by yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, by myself, there's not a...
I think statistically, if we looked it up too, most men do commit, say, like, sexual assaults, but not most black people commit crimes. Exactly. I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew I was just throwing that out there. Not that I think that black people cause more crimes, because I don't. Now, Molly, please go.
I had, I guess a situation, you can tell me if it's a stereotype or not. That guy that I matched with on that dating app, whenever I told him I wasn't looking to hook up with people, just, you know, to let him know, he accused me of generalizing. So would you say that I was stereotyping whenever I told him that I wasn't looking to hook up with people and I just wanted to go ahead and let him know?
Well, so I just thought about it after me and Bailey's conversation. It plays into this. You weren't... Okay, so like, in your mind, when you said that, were you assuming that because he's a guy on a dating app, he was only looking to hook up? Or were you saying,
not that a
lot of people on this dating app are looking to hook up, I just want to give you a heads up?
Yeah, I just wanted to give him a heads up. Like, I didn't know if that's what he was looking for, but I wanted to go ahead and put it out there in case.
Okay, so that's my...
But because he was a man, or because he was on a dating app?
I mean, that's kind of hard because I only talk to men on dating apps, so I don't know if I would.
Right.
Let me break it down. So, like, what I was...
It's a little bit of...
Yeah, both. Because what I was going off of was... The way that we've always heard this story is that Molly was telling this guy because she has been on a dating app and has seen a lot of people say, like, talk to you for 3 messages or whatever, and then say, okay, I just want to hook up. So she's seen that. That's a statistic. And so she didn't match with that guy and then automatically say, this is a man on a dating website. He just wants to hook up. She took from her previous knowledge and said, hey, if you are just looking to hook up, not about that, but willing to talk to you. I don't think that was based in stereotypes because that basis in stereotypes has to go away. Like, consciously making an effort to rid yourself of stereotypes. So, like, in our previous conversation about walking alone at night, if you see, to make it, in my opinion, a safety precaution and not a stereotypical, like, decision-making process, looking at a dark figure, don't care what the color of his skin is, don't care what their gender is, don't care what they're actually doing, I don't want to be near I don't want to walk within grabbing distance of a stranger while I'm by myself weaponized. Doesn't matter. And, like, that's the mindset you have to be in. It's not, oh, if that was a white guy, I'd stay here. If that was a woman, I'd stay here. It's like, yes, women have this familiar, like, feeling nowadays, in my opinion, especially because there's been a resurgence of this, like, women power bonding mentality lately. But to rid, yourself of stereotypes, that's how you have to think, is like, figure, don't like it. Don't care the color, don't care the size, shape, anything. I'm gonna stay in my lane. You do too. Same thing for dating apps. You can't say, you're a man on a dating app, so you just want to hook up, because then you're opening yourself up to, well, you're a girl on a dating app, all you want to do is hook up.
Yeah.
And you can't perpetuate either of those stereotypes, so you have to shut them down together, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to see if I thought it mattered if you had personal experience with it or not. But no, if a black guy steals your car, that doesn't mean, oh, I was right about those black criminals.
And that's the thing, is that, like, car stealers are all bad people. Not a stereotype, just something bad people do. All of them are bad. Murderers, bad people.
Yes.
Rapists, bad people.
Agreed.
Pedophiles, bad people.
Agreed.
A black pedophile does not mean that all black people are bad.
Right.
A white pedophile does not mean that all white people are bad. You can blame the action that they're doing, and you go stereotype the fuck out of actions. All those things are bad. The people doing them that represent a larger entity are not bad. And that's where, like, all lives matter came from. And all what was it? All men matter?
Not all men.
Not all men. Like, they got mad. Men got mad. Everybody else's lives got mad because they weren't being included, and they were finally being stereotyped, because realistically, there were not many Caucasian male stereotypes that were portrayed negatively until in the media until recently. Like, in the past 2 years, 5 years, there's been a resurgence of, but look how many white men have committed terrorist attacks or mass shootings or mass murders or become serial killers. And you're still not seeing a influx of stereotypes dedicated to Caucasians or males or white males.
Or we're not trying to kick all the men out of the country. We're not trying to kick all the white people out.
You don't see people getting on the news proclaiming that we need to build a wall because all the white men are going to come in and rape our children and steal our jobs.
So to answer Molly's question, maybe you were stereotyping a little bit.
But I don't think so.
But I think it's fair based on your personal experience and the fact that it just kind of got on his nerves. It doesn't hurt anybody in any way for you to say, hey, BTW, I don't want to hook up with you.
Well, and it's like telltale sign that if he wasn't really looking to hook up with you, all he could have said was, "Oh, yeah, I get how that could be misconstrued on this website because you've probably had a lot of guys just want to do that." I don't. And y'all could have gone on with the conversation and had a nice little
I mean, maybe I should have
but
waited
instead
a
he
little
chose
longer in the conversation to ask or like to state that.
But no, because then I just think that then you open yourself up to, and I've seen it happen, the guy saying, "You really fucking led me on this long.
Yeah.
You knew what I wanted. Where do you think we are?" And I mean, honestly, it can look like a no-win situation. So
I was going to say, which stereotype do you want to balance?
Either one you're doing. You could be the bad guy in the situation, like, according to them, you could be the bad guy in the situation.
Yeah.
So I think it's play your cards however you want to play them. And if the people react aggressively like that guy did, no harm, no foul, you got out quick and just unmatch after the first altercation. Like, he doesn't get a second chance after
that point.
Well, that's another option.
Just throw it all out.
Just give up.
All right. Any final thoughts?
I wanted to do the Twitter thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So there was a tweet that said something about what...
Do you think we could find it?
I tried, I couldn't.
No, I can't.
It was
essentially what stereotype...
What gender stereotype would you
kill?
Yes. I like that she said kill or murder.
Yeah. I saw one comment was like femininity in young men. That was nice. Not kill that, kill the
idea that can't happen. Yeah. Speaking of women being bad at math, there was someone who said that, and my boyfriend didn't know that was a stereotype, and I was like, oh yeah.
Really?
He knew that like women were in STEM fields less, so he was like, it makes sense. But when he showed me that,
that's that. Can we just back up for a second?
Okay.
That's the effect of stereotypes. Like you put people in boxes their whole life. They turn 18 and you let them go. And you say, you can be whatever you want now. But for their whole life,
yes,
you've been telling them something. Like, you tell girls, subconsciously, through the media, through commercials, through all of these things that they see, advertisements for them, whatever, what their moms do for a living, like everything tells them, you know what you can't be? Doctors and physicists and STEM researchers, engineers, because those are men's job, because men are good at math and girls are good at playing house and playing mommy and everything. And then you grow up and you have a lack of women in all these fields where women could be very utilized.
And you're like, where are all the women? Why don't they just come on in?
Yeah. And like, same thing with black men who were told their whole life that all they're going to grow up is to be thugs and they're going to turn out like, so whoever in their life was a bad person or could have been a bad person. And it's just like, you keep telling these young men that all you're good at is sports or all you're good at is this or that. And then they grow up and that's what they do. And then you question why there's no diversity in the workplace or that affirmative action was necessary because you told people all their lives that they were only good at one thing and then they try to do something else and you tell them they can't.
But what gender stereotype would you kill?
I don't know. You go.
The only ones I could think of at the time were like basically anything that surrounded women and femininity that I don't fit. So like that women have to be like good at and super interested in like makeup and fashion because I don't do makeup and I just wear clothes that I'm comfortable in. Generally, I don't vary that experimental into fashion. Yeah. So that's what came to my mind. Molly, did you think of any good ones?
Mine was how men have to be like strong and can't show emotion.
Yes.
It bothers me because that's something I like subconsciously believe. So like when a guy gets like all emotional, I'm like, oh, what a baby. But then whenever like when I see other people reacting that way, I'm like, no, they should be allowed to be emotional. And
Yeah.
but yeah, that was something that's been bothering me, is the fact that like, because like it's created like sociopaths basically, because men have
what
to
about for your gender,
contain
though?
everything.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Does it have to be for our gender?
I was kind of thinking for your own gender.
Well, I have one, and then I'll think of one for...
Because, like, I agree with that for men, but...
Molly, you think now, and then I'll think in a second. Mine for men, because, like, when I get pregnant, there's a good chance that I'm going to have a boy first. That's just what everybody keeps saying. And...
I'd say there's a 50-50 chance.
when Trump said the thing about grabbing that woman by her pussy, it created this uproar, and a couple people in my life used the locker room talk excuse and the boys will be boys excuse, and I hate that with a passion.
Yeah.
Because people in my life told me that I could not police my child. And that you can't control what he says in the locker room. You can't control what he says around his friends. And not that he's going to add to the conversation, but that he will be a part of the conversation, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Maybe he won't like it, but he'll be standing there.
And then what are you gonna say, like, when all of his friends are doing it? And no, young men, parents can teach their sons to stand up for that and to be the allies that people need. And the boys will be boys stereotype needs to fucking die.
We saw something on Facebook that was a guy, I think, posting an article that was talking about how, basically saying that the things that are getting some backlash now, like toxic masculinity, basically anything that would follow under that umbrella, the guy said something like, if you don't raise your men like this, you're denying their biology, which, like, no, you're denying them bad social things being pushed on them. Like, you don't have to teach them that it's okay.
Yeah, that's mostly all societal. That's not evolutionary.
Yeah. It's like, that doesn't make any sense.
What would you say for female, Molly?
Yeah.
For female, I guess that, like, women are weak part. I don't know. I don't really care much.
Physically or emotionally?
Stereotypes, just both.
Okay.
But I don't play into any stereotype. Like, it doesn't bother me that I'm either super emotional or not super emotional. I don't know. I guess I just want everybody to feel their feelings and not get shit for it, you know? Like, my dad has a really big problem with me crying, and I mean, he's got a point in some cases. Like, I shouldn't be crying at work, but I guess women being perceived as, like, emotional, and, like, when they are emotional, they're obviously on their period, or just, like, to be taken seriously, like, we have to act like hard asses, you know?
Yeah.
That was kind of mine, like, so, like, I hate the business woman mentality, like, that she doesn't know what she's talking about, and she, whatever may have you about business, and, like, having to explain yourself, or having to take it easy on her, she's too emotional or can't make decisions. I hate that. But I also hate the stereotype that women have to shave their whole body.
Yeah, I think I said that earlier.
Why have we as a society pretended that it's biologically fine that men have hairy ass underarms and hairy ass leg hair, and all of their hair can grow everywhere?
I'm very hairy.
And we can't have any hair anywhere. Like, are you fucking serious? We've we've created a scientific movement that says that we can't have body hair because it's unhygienic, yet our counterparts do. That doesn't make sense.
That doesn't bother me.
I agree.
And if anything, they have more testosterone. They create more sweat. We don't. That's not how hormones work.
Yeah.
Estrogen lowers your sweat and all of that good thing.
See, how men don't shave their armpits blows my mind. I hate whenever my armpits get hairy. Everything else, yeah, it doesn't matter. But how men go without shaving their armpits is got to be so uncomfortable.
All I want to do is be hairy.
I think all you want to do is take us out of this podcast.
All I want to do is check you out. So, I'm glad you all joined us on this riveting adventure of why stereotypes are the worst thing to ever hit this planet. Please consciously make the effort to retrain your brain and think about how harmful the stereotypes you use in an everyday life are, even if you think they're good stereotypes. They're bad, and they put people in boxes. People don't live in boxes. Outside of the box. Woo! Happy day that you're listening to this. So happy you've come along this journey with us. We'd like to thank everybody that did everything for us. All of our handles and emails and things are in the description box. Look those up. As always, I'm Laura.
I'm Molly.
And I'm Bailey.
And this has been Our 3 Cents.
Bye.